Welcome, everybody. It's Thursday, and we are continuing our 8-week HR Disruptor Summit 2021, Fall 2021 Speaker Series. And I am your moderator and host, Jan Barlow, founder of Better Job Fit. And we are here with author, speaker, LinkedIn expert, superwoman, Brenda Meller of Brenda Meller Marketing. And I'm so excited, Brenda. Thank you so much for joining us here at the summit this fall.
I am delighted to be here, Jan. I've been super looking forward to today and looking forward to the conversation. It's going to be a blast.
I love it. So, as everyone knows, the HR Disruptor Summit started last October. So, woo, woo, we got a 1-year anniversary. And we have just progressed, let me tell you, grown leaps and bounds. We had our June summit. That was a 12-week, so to speak, event, content marketing, and a 3-day event. Then this time we have our fall 8-week series. This is all for professionals, HR professionals, and business professionals. Anything that has to do with reimagine work. That's what the HR Disruptor Summit is about. And a lot of this, we support entrepreneurs or people with side gigs or wanting to branch out. And when I was looking at meeting with the team and we were talking about topics, part of the HR Disruptor Peer Advisory Forum, they said, hey, we want to really bring up topics that support people with side gigs, employees that want to have a side gig, employees that are looking, experience rich, as Brenda loves to say, experience rich employees that are looking, hey, maybe I want to take my experience and intellectual property and create my own gig, right? And so Brenda, what I love about what she's going to share with you today is because she's a LinkedIn expert and an entrepreneur. She's got a corporate background. She's going to share more with you after this. But, she's bringing to the table, she's lived it. So that's what I wanted her to share with you today. Not only her expertise, but she's bringing that personal experience of how she transitioned from corporate to owning her own business. And it's really going to be really a rich conversation. We want people to engage. So please, bring into that chat. We welcome your engagement. And so take it away, Brenda Meller.
Well, I am delighted to be walking you through here today. And Jan, we're kind of still getting to know each other, but people that follow me online know that I'm an enthusiastic presenter, and they also know that I love pie. And today I'm bringing pie into my presentation. And each slide you'll kind of see a theme, and then the next slide is going to be a pie made with that theme. So the first pie you see here is lemon. So you'll be able to follow around as we're going throughout the presentation today with some of my favorite pies, starting with a lemon pie, of course. But I'm delighted to share these tips with your audience here today. So I'm going to be giving you some LinkedIn strategy tips on helping you move from being in a corporate role into the role of a consultant. And as we're getting started, I just want to point out my slides over on this side of the screen here. I created this using canva.com. Little pro tip for all of you who are thinking about making that move to a side hustle. You're going to find that Canva is one of your best friends because it's kind of like graphic design for dummies. So check it out if you're looking at building presentations, a really awesome tool. All right, so we had in the description, kind of here's what we said we were going to tell you about today. If you're thinking about moving corporate, you might be focused on some logistics, figuring out your last date, your health benefits, things like that. But there's a lot more to it than just the logistics. There's a mindset change, and then there's a whole shift into marketing yourself. Whereas before, as a corporate employee, your organization does that for you. Now, as a consultant, you're going to have to wear many hats, and one of those being marketing and business development. And LinkedIn is such an amazing tool to help you with that. So during the presentation here today, I'm going to walk you through, I'm going to focus on 3 areas. And we've got about roughly, I think, about a half hour here, Jan. Is that right? We should end about 2:30?
We do. If we go a little bit further, it's all about whatever you want to share with us. And sometimes we get some engagement going on. So we're not going to do a hard stop. If the energy's flowing, girl, you're ready to roll.
All right, I'm going to go with it then. So we'll plan on making this interactive. So I want you guys to use chat. And the first thing I want you to do, if you're watching this right now live or in playback, I want you to go into comments right now and tell me your favorite kind of pie. I know everybody has a favorite kind of pie. It might be a hearty pie, It might be a sweet pie, a dessert pie, but go into comments right now and tell me your favorite kind of pie. So let's get the chat going. Let's have this be interactive. So what we're going to be covering today, I'm going to focus us into 3 topics. What to do today to get started as an employee if you're thinking about making that move to consulting. I'm going to give you some techniques on how to optimize your LinkedIn profile and how to avoid some common mistakes that I see a lot of people making. And then finally, I'm going to give you some little pearls of wisdom that is going to help to take your company page on LinkedIn from inactive to supercharged. And what I'm referring to here is the company page that's going to be supporting your consulting business. All right. If you guys have questions as we go along, drop them into comments and I'll periodically pause and see if there's any comments coming in and questions as well. All right. So let's move into, we were just out of the lemon. Now we're going to move into apples here. Let's talk about getting started today. And I'm going to focus on 3 areas in getting started today. We're going to talk about commenting in the LinkedIn homepage feed. We're going to talk about posting, how often and maybe what should you be posting. And then we're going to talk about creating a company page. And these are things that you can do today as a corporate employee. And I'm going to help you kind of use LinkedIn in stealth mode. And what I mean by that is I don't want to throw off any red flags to people, but I really want to help you kind of ramp your presence up, ramp up your professional brand, start to build out your network so that when you're ready to make that move, it's going to be a very easy transition for you. And you can start today. And one thing you can start to do today is commenting in the homepage feed. And I like to think about comments in the homepage feed. They're really great for so many reasons. One is it gets your name out into the homepage feed and it gets you active on LinkedIn. And Jan, there's a lot of times I work with people and they're very nervous about doing anything on LinkedIn because they're worried that their boss is going to see and that the boss is going to think that they're looking for a new job. Is that a concern you ever hear people saying, Jan, about getting active on LinkedIn?
I do. And also that hesitancy of, where do I start and how much do I talk about? And, what's that first step? But they are hesitant because, again, they're they're thinking everybody in the world's going to see them, right? Well, they are, but you first have to just be confident about how you're going to engage, right?
Right. Absolutely. So here's what I want you to do. And I want you to think about a slice of pie. And you see the apple pie slice that's up here on screen. Usually when people are served pie, I remember this from back in my days. I used to work at Big Boys. I don't know if you have Big Boys by you, Jan, but
love Big Boys.
Okay. And I used to waitress, and I noticed that when I would serve back in my waitressing days, when I would serve a piece of pie, no matter how I had put the pie in front of the person, we have this tendency to turn the pie so that the point is facing towards us. I don't know what it is. Like I can put it in any direction, sideways, cross. They'll turn it around and the pie will be facing towards them. And commenting on LinkedIn and posting on LinkedIn, I want you to think about pushing that pie point towards the other person on the other side of the table. So here's just one example. I was on LinkedIn earlier this morning. Ariel Lee, who's one of my connections, by the way, follow her. She's awesome. She was posting about, hey, public service announcement. Not everybody is thinking about leaving their dream job, their day job, to do a side hustle. And she does some stuff on the side, but she doesn't really have any intention of leaving her day job. And she's like, that's okay. Because there's a lot of us out there that are like, come on over, the water's fine. But she's professing, hey, if you love your day job, you don't have to leave it. You don't have to move for that side hustle. And I added a comment and I said, yeah, absolutely. For me, my side hustle, when I started it, it was meant to be a side hustle. I had no intention of leaving corporate. But one day, sat down during my annual performance review, and I was told my position is being eliminated, and I had 3 months kind of on a timeline. And lo and behold, guess what? My side hustle ended up becoming my full-time job. It was a fallback that I didn't even know I was planning at the time. But this is just an example of how you can get into conversations on the LinkedIn homepage feed. And what I like to do is I like to add to the conversation. I'm pointing that pie, if you will, at Ariel here. I'm commenting back to her post, but I'm adding in some expertise from my own personal point of view. It's a really easy technique to do if you're struggling with, I don't know what to post on LinkedIn. If you have that hesitation about, I'm worried my employer is going to think that I'm looking for a job if I start posting. If you start commenting on other people in the homepage feed, it just looks like you're being a good LinkedIn community citizen. Because what we're doing here is we're building up social media karma. We're building up visibility for ourselves, and we're helping people like Ariel. So that's my very first tip. is to start by commenting. All right, moving along here. Let me give you a second tip. And my second tip is to post on LinkedIn. So I want you to take, if you have that hesitation, I don't want to post because I don't want my boss to think I'm looking. I want you to take that away and just kind of throw it off to the side, because I want you to know that more people are using LinkedIn for business development, for professional networking, and just for visibility on a professional level than they are using it for job search. You heard that right. They're using it more for professional networking than they are using it for job search. And you're going to realize the benefit of LinkedIn if you start getting active by posting on LinkedIn. So I want to encourage everyone who's watching here today, if you want to take pictures throughout the presentation, feel free. Grab a picture of something that I'm sharing up on screen, maybe post and talk about that. Now tag me and tag Jan in the post when you do so. Maybe tell people something that you learned by watching this event. Now, you might say, Brenda, that sounds great, but I don't want anyone to know I'm thinking about leaving corporate to go to a side hustle or a consulting career. Then don't do it on this webinar, but do it on the next webinar that you attend. Start by posting and tell people events that you're attending, articles that you're reading. Maybe you come across an inspirational quote that's really great. Maybe you read a book and you want to share the book that you've read. I mean, what I like to do is take a selfie, hold a book up in the photo, right? And take a picture and share it on LinkedIn, tag the author in the post, tell people something. But you need to get active and start building up your visibility today. And I would encourage you to try post at least weekly and then working up gradually to posting every single business day. Okay, so that's my second technique for you. A tip to help increase your visibility is to start posting on LinkedIn. All right, moving on. My third tip in this category of building up visibility and things you can start to do today, you can start by creating a company page today. You do not need to wait. There is a link on LinkedIn. You go under the work icon, you scroll all the way down to the bottom. It says create a company page. Now, the beauty of this is you can create a company page and you don't have to link it to your profile. So I could create a fictitious company calling it Social Media Pie, for example, not link it to my profile, and no one would know that I'm associated with the page. Okay. So start building it today, even if you're not ready to make that move. Okay. Now, if you already are a consultant, you should definitely have a company page on LinkedIn. And I would say, don't wait to get started to get started. I'm going to say that again. Don't wait to get started to get started. That means
just start, right?
Right. You got to start somewhere. And I think, a lot of people have that hesitancy, like, I don't want to create the page. I don't want the LLC. I don't want this. I don't want that, because then I'm kind of committed to something. But really having that side hustle going on the sidelines, I think, can be really effective. Anything that you wanted to add on to that, Jan?
What I love, Brenda, is when you teach it. Again, don't be afraid to. And back to what you had shared before, I think now more than ever, like, to think of networking, virtual networking, social networking on a business level, this is the best way to do it. Like, since COVID, right, we can't get out and about as much, right? We're limited. I'm not saying do one or the other. I'm saying to do both. But I think that I know for myself, when I started to do more virtual events, I started to get more involved with LinkedIn, and I feel now that I have a true community, right? And I do feel a connection, and sometimes I feel, okay, well, should I not feel that way or reach out to certain people? I'm not shaming or blaming or thinking, those thoughts anymore. It's all about, if I feel called to reach out to somebody or to connect, I send them a note if I can and say, hey, would love to connect. I liked your post. I think we're just now at a point where to be really authentic and transparent and feel that connection to other people now that we have that opportunity.
Absolutely. And there's no time like the present, right? So get started
Absolutely.
today, right? You can go into the homepage feed and start commenting on other people's posts. You can post something yourself, or you can create a company page. So 3 actions that you can do starting today. Okay. I'm going to move on now and move into our second category. And we move from Apple now into chocolate, one of my very And there's all kinds of chocolate pies out there too, guys. So don't be afraid here. So we've got, we're going to talk about now optimizing your LinkedIn presence. And I'm also going to weave in some common mistakes I see people making. I don't want you to make them, so I want to help you out here. So we're going to do these in 3 categories as well. I'm going to talk about updating your profile. We're going to talk about consider waiting to add your side hustle to the profile and what the steps you want to do that in order. And then avoiding some red flags, some common mistakes I see people making on LinkedIn that can possibly alert people before you're ready to make that move. Okay, so let's first talk about updating your profile on LinkedIn. And here's what I want you to do today. I want you to look at your profile as yourself and think about, if you are your boss or an employee of your company, looking at your profile from top to bottom, does it look like you're looking for a job? Okay. Common mistake I see people making is when they build out their LinkedIn profile, they did it initially because they were looking at making a career change, perhaps, and they copied and pasted from the resume. So their about statement, for example, looks like a resume. It's describing them in the third person, results-oriented marketing professional who gets results, blah, 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 right? So things like that, they make you look like you're looking for a job, and you may not be looking for a job. You might be happily employed in your organization right now, and you're also starting to think about positioning yourself for that side hustle in the future. So here's what I want you to do. We don't want to set off any red flags. We want to look like the absolute best brand ambassador for your company possible. So looking at your profile from top to bottom, even starting with that header image that's in the background, that should be a branded header image supporting your corporate job. Maybe it's a logo of your company. Maybe it's a picture of a building of the company. Talk to the marketing department, reach out to them and say, hey, I was on this great webinar the other day, and the presenter said, check with the marketing department and see if we have any branded headers. Your marketing department's going to love you. They're going to be like, yeah, absolutely. We got a library. Here's 4 to 6 that you can choose from. Put something up on your LinkedIn profile. And this helps to illustrate that you are a supporter of your company, a great brand ambassador of your company, and it's not setting off any red flags. In the meantime, you're building up visibility for yourself within the organization and through your LinkedIn network, so that when you start to think about pivoting into consulting, you've got a great brand presence that's been built up there. So go through everything from top to bottom. Make sure it does not look like a resume. Make sure that you're writing yourself in the first person in your about statement, and tell people a bit about who you are, what you do, and how you are using LinkedIn today. Do keep in mind to weave in some mention about your area of expertise. Why are you passionate about HR? Why do you love marketing? Why is graphic design something that's always been a part of your DNA? You're going to start weaving in those mentions, because later on, when you move and you shift from corporate to consultant, people are going to go, oh, that totally makes sense, because I've seen her do posts about HR strategy and she's amazing. I've learned marketing tips from her. I've gained insights about graphic design because of the things that she's posting on LinkedIn, right? So I want you to think about updating your profile, kind of aligning it with your current position today, and make yourself look like the absolute great brand ambassador that you are. Jan, did you want to add anything on that?
No, I love, when you were sharing about asking the marketing department about that background, girl, the first thing I thought of was anybody, whether it be the department or the company itself, I think I'd be telling all employees, sending that marketing,
Yes.
Wouldn't that just make sense?
Yes.
I mean, you talk about a great, just a great symmetry and collaboration when all your staff has the logo of the company as a background on their LinkedIn profile. I mean, gosh, that is pretty awesome.
Absolutely. And some companies have this, but their employees are reluctant to do anything with it. Again, it goes back to, I don't want to ramp up my LinkedIn because I don't want them to think I'm looking for a new job. Again, throw that aside. LinkedIn is for professional networking. You got to keep repeating that. It's for professional networking.
No, that's right.
And the marketing department's going to love you. Company leadership's going to see that you're being a great representative of the organization as well. And in the meantime, people that are connecting with you on LinkedIn are going to see that you're a great brand ambassador for your company, which great brand ambassadors for companies also make great consultants when they leave the company. So let's get that profile updated. All right, awesome. So I'm going to keep us moving along here, and moving into our next tip here, and things of how to optimize your profile. one thing is we talked about in the previous section about creating a company page. And I said, you don't need to add it to your company, your profile just yet. But when you are ready to add it to your profile, I want you to do these steps in this order. First is make sure that you're notifying your employer about this side hustle if you are currently working while you add it to your profile. Because you do not want your boss to approach you in a meeting and pull you off to the side and say, hey, I noticed you have this Meller marketing page on your profile. What's going on? Are you not doing your day job? Like, you don't want that to happen, right?
Right.
Some organizations have policies that, really allow their employees to do whatever they want in their own time. They don't care, but you don't ever want to blindside your boss, your manager, your leader. So make sure you let them know, hey, I'm just doing this on the side. It's not conflicting with what I'm doing. I'm not using the office copier or anything like that for resources. But I would say let's make sure that your boss or manager knows first before you add it into your profile. And then when you do, you add it into your experience section. If you are still working in a corporate role, you want to move your side hustle to the second position. So when you add a new employer in your experience section, it automatically will put it at the top. And there's a way you can actually pull it down and you can move it into the second position. And that kind of signals to people, my day job is my primary job. That's what I'm doing. That's where I'm earning my paycheck. That's my priority. By moving it to second position, it kind of lets people know this is a side hustle. This is a secondary role for me. So I think that can really help you out. And the third thing is when you add it to your profile, there's a little way that when you add an experience to your profile, there's a button that will say notify network. It's a little green button. You can toggle it on or off. If you have notify network on, what will happen is LinkedIn will push out a notification and it will say, congratulate Brenda on being named marketing consultant at Meller Marketing. Now, if I want to broadcast that to the world, there's no harm in following that. That's actually a great thing because LinkedIn is using a tool to push it out to your network. People are going to comment on your timeline. They're also going to private message you, and you have an opportunity to tell them about your business, right? But if you're still working in a corporate job, you may not want that going out, right? Because you don't want people questioning, did you leave your job? What happened here? So if you shut that off, then that notification doesn't go off on your profile. Anything to add there, Jan?
No, I think I have to tell you though, I can feel a little anxiety when you put on there, notify your employer first. I'm thinking, yeah, there's going to be some people very hesitant about that.
Yeah, but I think that's a good point though, Jan, because if you don't really want your employer knowing, I just want to be careful that we're not putting things on a visible place. Like if you create a company page and don't link it to your profile, there's no harm, there's no risk at that.
Right.
At least tell your immediate boss, your immediate manager, hey, I'm starting to do this side thing. Because what you don't want to do is to have the president of the company call your boss aside and say, why does Brenda have this on her profile? Right?
You're exactly right. You're exactly right. I mean, own it. I mean, everybody, that's a decision you got to make individually. But, you really need to be authentic about it and not shy away. If it's something that you believe in and you want to do, why not? Right? There shouldn't be any fear in that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you just have to understand the lay of the land where you're at. You don't want to jeopardize your full-time job and leave before you're ready to leave, I guess is my point there. But I think having some things ramping up in the sidelines is a good plan to have on that. All right, so let's move us along here. Let's now talk about avoiding some red flags. And if you're in a position where you're working a corporate job and you're thinking about making that shift to consulting, there's some things that you don't want to do because I think they can be red flags. They can kind of set off notifications or put out, messages to your network that you're not even aware that you're sending, right? And one is recommendations. Let's say I'm working in a corporate job and I'm starting to do some graphic design on the side, and that's my side business. Let's say someone in my network that I've done a graphic design project for, Jan, they give me a recommendation and I add it to my profile. And I don't think anything of it. My day job is maybe it's corporate communications. My side hustle is graphic design. So it's not really a conflict. I don't have a problem with it. It goes on my profile. Well, what happens if you get a flurry of recommendations, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 within a period of a month or two? If you notice in the recommendation section of LinkedIn, there's a date stamp and it shows when those recommendations occurred. So someone looking at your profile, your boss, your manager, for example, might go, oh, wait, there's a whole bunch of recommendations Brenda just got for graphic design. Is she thinking about leaving the company? Like, what's happening here, right?
Right.
So just be careful about if you do accept them and they go on your profile, you can accept it and hide them and then maybe turn them on later. That's a technique that you might want to think about. But if you do accept them, be aware that there's timestamps there and that people can see when you've received those. So especially if it's for your consulting work, you want to be careful about that. Okay.
Brenda, I had a quick question. You know, when you talk about hiding certain features, is that on the regular LinkedIn, or do you have to get the premium membership to do some of this?
Yeah, excellent question. So everything I'm covering here today is using the free basic version of LinkedIn. Hiding recommendations on your profile, that's available to everyone.
Okay.
Changing emails available to everyone. So all of the features here, there are a couple features that you get with premium. We're not going to go into too much of those here today, but there are some premium features that you can get access to. Who's viewed your profile, your trend line, things like that, that you wouldn't get in the free basic version. But everything I'm covering here today is using the free version.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's now talk about your email address that is affiliated on your LinkedIn account. Now, when you start your side hustle, you might be like me. You might first use a Gmail, right? And mine was, I don't know if it was like Meller Brenda at gmail.com. I was using my work email for work related things and my Gmail for my business, right? And, for me, I mean, I kind of left corporate and then changed it over. It wasn't an issue. But if you're still working and you're thinking about what should be my primary email on my LinkedIn account, if you change that primary email from your work email to a Gmail or something else, that might be a red flag. People might see that and go, well, wait a minute. I know that she had her work email as a contact before, and now it's something different. Is she thinking about leaving? Like, what's happening? What prompted that change? Now, you can add multiple email addresses to your account. The one that you designate as primary is what would show in your email section when people connect with you. But I would be careful about changing that unless you're prepared for that visibility to shift from corporate into possibly that side hustle. So be careful about that. All right. And then the final thing I want to talk about is comments on LinkedIn. There's some people that don't know this. Every comment is viewable by everyone, whether you're connected with them or not. The only thing would be if I've blocked you, Jan, which I wouldn't. You're absolutely amazing. I wouldn't block you. If I were to block Jan, Jan couldn't see my comments. But if Jan worked with Fred and Fred wanted to, and let's say Jan's my boss, right? And Fred wanted to see, or Jan wanted to see what I was posting, she might go over to Fred's computer and say, hey, Fred, can you pull up Brenda's profile real quick? I want to see what's going on. And then she can see it. They're public, right? And sometimes I see people going into a live video, and it's a live video about, like today, leaving your corporate job and starting a side hustle. If you put a comment into a live video, that's viewable by anyone. Okay. It stays into your activity feed. It's on the live video. You can delete it out, but I want you to be aware that when you comment on things on LinkedIn, they're public. Like, people can see those comments. So be aware of that. And the other thing is, and this is a newer feature on LinkedIn, they have events. And there's a way, like, people will invite you to attend an event. RSVPs are viewable as well. So when you register to attend an event, you are seen by other people who are attending that event as well. So just be careful. I don't want any red flags. If you're thinking about leaving a job and maybe there's a webinar that says, what do you do with your 401k when you leave a job, and you register for that session, that could be like a red flag going out. So I just want to make sure that we're thinking about those things. All right. We're going to move into our final section here. We're going to talk next about taking your page from being inactive to supercharged. So if you're shifting from corporate into a consulting role, or maybe you've already got a consulting role and you have a company page on LinkedIn, I want to teach you how to get that page really active and make it wow people and really unlock the power and the potential of that page starting today. So what we can do today is, if you don't already have a message on the page, a post on the page, we're going to do a welcome post, and I'm going to show you why and how to do that. We're going to talk about posting on your company page, and we're also going to talk about inviting followers. And we got a pumpkin theme here, Jan. Are you a pumpkin spice person?
I love it, especially when it comes to coffee.
Pumpkin pie is like the absolute, I think, best pie to make homemade. If you've never had a homemade pumpkin pie made with fresh pumpkin, you are missing out. It's like the best, seriously. So let's talk about your company page, how to take it from being inactive to supercharged. The first thing is, and I can't tell you how often I see this, Jan, I land on somebody's page. They've created it to support their side hustle or their consulting business. And I click on post and a message like that. It's like me face palming going, it says no post yet. Check back later. And especially when I see that a page has 25, 100, 300 followers and there's nothing there. There's no posts on there. Not having a post on your company page would be like walking into a store at the mall and nobody's there to greet you. And you can't even see anybody who's working behind the counter. And you're like, is anybody even here? Is this store open? And you might walk back out, right? As opposed to
that's a great analogy,
right? As opposed to if you walk into a store, and I'll use like Bath and Body Works as an analogy. I walk into the store, there's always like 3 people right there, right? They're wearing an apron, they hand you a basket, right? And they say, welcome to Bath and Body Works. We're doing buy 3, get 3 free. Is there anything I can help you find? And we've got a new pumpkin spice soap that we'd like to show you, right?
Yeah, they got it all, the basket and everything. I mean,
Yeah, and if you take the basket, you're kind of feeling like, well, I might as well put things in the basket, right?
I got no excuse now.
Yeah. So having a welcome page, welcome post on your page is similar to having a greeter at the door at your store. And a simple welcome message could be something like this. Welcome to the official LinkedIn company page for, insert your business name here, right? ABC Consulting. Follow us for, and then tell people the things that you're going to be posting about. Maybe you're a leadership coach. So you might say, follow us for leadership tips and more. Go into your company page right now. If you are a consultant and you have never posted on your page, I want you to do a welcome message today. Welcome people to your page. Tell them what you're going to be posting and ask them to follow you. Have a greeter at your door, if you will. So you want to welcome people with a post. That's my first tip. All right. Second tip is we posted once, but that's not the ending. We should be posting on a semi-regular basis here. I recommend that you try to post at least monthly and try to include some type of a call to action in your post, a CTA, if you will. And a call to action might be comment below. It might be tell us what you think. It might be tag someone below who epitomizes this leadership quality. It might be, what do you think? Let's give people a reason to engage with the post and give them instructions, like give them a roadmap and tell them what to do. Comment below to share your thoughts. Comment below to tag someone who illustrates this quality. And if you're struggling with what to post, I want you to think about, as a consultant, you have a category of expertise. You probably have people coming up to you right now. And I'm guessing for you, Jan, when you first started your business, did you have people approaching you asking for questions, whether it's, can I pick your brain about this? Or I just have a quick question about HR strategy, or just
absolutely. When we started, it was about, I can't find a job. Like what I'm doing is not working. So what do I got to do?
There you
exactly
go.
Right.
So rather than just answering one person, do what I do. Post your answer on your company page. Now, you don't need to say, Jan Barlow asked me this question. You can say, a network connection reached out and asked me this. And this is what I do. When I get questions coming in, I will use those as posts on my company page. And I'll say featured LinkedIn question. LinkedIn is my category. Featured LinkedIn question. And and I literally copied it from the email and I pasted it in the post. And then if you keep reading this post, my answer appears below here. So this is an easy thing. Like, as people are asking you questions about your industry knowledge, start using those as posts on your company page. It's a great way of building up your base of knowledge as a consultant.
I got a question, Brenda. There's a feature. So like when you post a response to somebody's post, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't there a way that you can go and take that and post it on your page?
Absolutely. And LinkedIn
start a discussion, right?
Yeah. And LinkedIn is starting to kind of suggest that. They're saying, hey, start your own post with this comment. They're kind of trying to feed you with that certain idea. You certainly could. Or maybe you interact on a post publicly on your personal profile, and it seems to be categorically affiliated with the area of expertise that would be for your consulting. You could start a post and you can say, I was commenting on at Jan Barlow's post the other day where she was asking about leadership traits, and here's my response. What would you add to it? Absolutely. Great technique there. All right. Did that answer your question, Jan?
Yeah, I got to get better at, it's interesting because I love, first of all, when you teach this, because I know for us, our team, we're a small nonprofit and small
Yeah.
tight group, but when we launched 3 brands at the same time, actually 4 brands
Wow.
at the same time. So when we're working on our Better Job Fit page, our HR Disruptor Summit page, right? I
Mhm.
see I need to get better at that call to action. I really enjoy tagging people,
Mhm.
but I appreciate this comment below. What do you think?
Yeah.
So thank you so much for sharing that.
Yeah, and I always try to think about like what could that call to action be? And it doesn't it could be one of these. It could also be share this post with someone in your network. It can be if you're talking about events, do you have any upcoming events? If so, share your link below. Like invite people into the conversation. And for those folks that are watching right now, I want to encourage you, please drop into comments if you have other suggestions on things that you've used as calls to action because we can kind of brainstorm this together. There's a ton of things that you could do. So
I
I'm
love
glad to
that.
hear that inspired you. All right. So let's move on now here. And we're going to talk about kind of the final area here. And this is growing out your company page. And this is something that, not a lot of people think about. They kind of create the page and then they kind of forget about it. Right. And they're wondering, like, why am I not getting any engagement? Why is nobody responding to any of my posts or commenting on things? Right. And part of the reason is we need to gain followers on our company page. So, what I would recommend that you do is start with your inner circle. So, as you create your company page as a consultant, you want to start with your inner circle of supporter. Maybe, first of all, it's family and friends. So, you can invite them to follow the page. And there's actually a little invitation credit feature on LinkedIn. Jan, have you ever used it? Do you know what I'm talking
No,
about?
what is it?
So if you go into your company page on LinkedIn, you can do this now in the desktop or in the mobile version. As long as you are an admin on the page, along the right-hand side in desktop, you're going to see it says invite people, invite your connections to follow your page. So
Oh,
if you
yeah.
go into desktop, and every month LinkedIn gives us 100 credits. And the way that this works is, Jan, if you were to send me in an invitation to follow your page and I accept it and I follow the page, you get the credit back so you can ask someone else. So you're actually
Oh, that's
better.
great.
Yeah. So you're better suited to invite people that have a higher likelihood of accepting it. And then you get the credits back and you continue to use those throughout the month. So I would encourage you, use all 100, use every month, use all 100. Start with your family and friends, the people that support you, right? That know that you're doing the side hustle. Then kind of go out to your super fans. And you know what I'm talking about. Your
Your
coworkers who
peeps.
absolutely love you and support you, right? Your mentors, people like Jan, right? Who are your cheerleaders.
Put me on there. Put me on there.
Right? I mean, they could be people who may refer business to you in the future, or they could just be people who really just love working with you and all that you stand for, those super fans. We all have them. And then gradually you might start adding just people who are connections of you. And depending on where you are in terms of visibility of this page, you might want to wait until you're ready to make it visible, obviously, right? But you can continue to invite people out. Now, LinkedIn has 800 million LinkedIn members. So I mean, Jan, I think right now on my page, I just crossed over 6,000. I mean, that's a drop in the bucket. Like,
Congratulations, girl.
yeah, right? 6,000 sounds great, but there's 800 million members on LinkedIn.
Yeah,
So,
okay, so I have to share this with you. When I found out, people were saying, oh my gosh, if you're not on Clubhouse yet, this was last
right.
year, right? And we're just now, we were feeling overwhelmed with everything that we were needing to start and to launch. And we decided, okay, let's just start with LinkedIn. And when we found the stats that said only 1% of those 800, right, million people engage or they post, right?
Yep.
I was like, I like those odds. I
Yeah.
like only being the few,
Of
right?
the
I mean,
1%, right?
yeah, I'm like, that's a no flipping brainer. Okay. I'm not good at math, but that's that's a no-brainer right there.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. So I mean, I think it's important to be active. We talked about that earlier, commenting, posting yourself. But if you want to really supercharge your page, moving it from inactive to supercharge, you have to focus on inviting followers. And that invitation credit feature is such an amazing thing. And for anybody watching right now on LinkedIn, as long as you are a first level connection, you can invite anyone to follow your company page. If you have multiple admins, maybe you have people that are working for you. Your consulting business is a little bit higher in terms of well-established. You can add each person who's an admin can invite people to connect. So you could split out the 100 invitations. Each of you could take 50 and then grow more. So Jan, if you have an assistant, if you have other people that work on your team, ask them to invite people to follow your page. And one technique I've been doing lately, Jan, is as I get somebody inviting me to follow their page, I will accept it and then I'll immediately go back and invite them to follow mine. Because they're like the social media karma is that effect there, right? Like if you ask me to follow yours and I accept it, you're going to feel indebted to me to want to follow mine back, right?
Exactly. So let me get this straight. So we have, the people on our team that have access or admin approval for for our LinkedIn. So do they each get 100 or are we
No, you
divided?
get 100 total for the page. So
Okay.
if there's 5 people on your team, you might each agree to use 20 of the credits.
Right.
I mean, when you go into the page, you can see 87 credits out of 100 remaining. So you'll see how many have been used. But no, anybody who's an admin can issue, but you have a bank of 100 total for the month. And as they are accepted, those credits are returned so you can continue to use those.
So they go out and under our company page and invite people.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
And they
So
do have to be first level connections. So an important thing to keep in mind there is if you have a team that you work with and you give everyone admin access to your page, Jan, let's say you and I work together. We were on the same team, same company.
Yep.
People I'm connected to, there's probably some overlap, but there's probably some different people I'm connected to than you're connected to. So each of us has the opportunity to invite our first level connections. Now, let's say we are both connections with Tina Marie Woolfield. Let's say you issue her a invitation to follow your page. If I see her in my list, it's going to say invitation sent. So I wouldn't be able to send her another. She's not going to get 5 invitations. She's just going to get 1 from us.
Got it. That makes sense. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So there's 3 tips on supercharging your company page on LinkedIn. And as we start to wrap up the presentation here today, again, if you're watching this live or in playback, I want to encourage you to please comment below and share with us one thing that you learned that you're going to incorporate into your LinkedIn activities as you move from corporate to consultant. If you're already in a consulting role, great. You can still do one thing. There's a lot of great tips that we offer you here today. So I want you to comment below and share with us one thing that you're going to incorporate into your LinkedIn activities. And do keep in mind, comments are public, so you got to be okay with being visible about where you are moving from corporate to consulting. If you're not ready for it, that's okay. You still want to share something, you can email to me. And you can just tell me, you can email to me to Brenda@mellermarketing.com and share with me something that you learned. I will not disclose that this was shared with me in confidence, somebody who's leaving their corporate job. But if you want to share something and you want to be held accountable to sharing something, you can email it to me on LinkedIn or you can message me if we are connected on LinkedIn. And as we wrap here today, Jan, I want to let everyone know these slides are available. If you are interested in downloading a copy of the slides, you'll need to go to mellermarketing.com/EU. It is not the European Union. It's not that EU. I wanted to make this super easy and memorable as well. I use EU to coin the term enthusiastically unemployable. What that means is I am working, but nobody could hire me anymore because I love being a consultant. So I am enthusiastically unemployable working as an independent consultant. So go to mellermarketing.com/EU, lowercase, and you can download a copy of the slides. And once you do so, I will send you 5 additional bonus tips on how to move from consultant to from corporate to consultant. And I'm also launching a new LinkedIn masterclass about that very same topic. And you'll get advance notice before I notify the public about that. So Jan, I think that's all I have for folks for today.
Okay, I do want you to mention, is there a workshop that you do on Fridays?
Yeah, so I actually am running right now every Friday from 10 to 11 a.m. Eastern. I have what I call my Friday VIP job seeker office hour. So this is open to anybody who is in career transition. If you're working but looking, if you're, unemployed and actively in career transition or in between successes, if you will. I was telling my son this term the other day, in between successes. He's like, what does that mean? I said, well, you are successful in this job and you're going to be successful in the next job, but you're not there yet. So right now you're in between successes. And he said, He said, kind of like an Oreo. So you're the double stuff right now. And I said, exactly.
Exactly. No, you're in the cream section right there. You're in the cream spot.
Right. So I'm going to I'll drop in the Friday VIP link into the event page as well.
Awesome.
And I don't know if are we able to share comments up on screen so you can pull it up on screen while I'm doing this, Jan?
Yeah, put it in chat. It says chat, and then you should be able to put it up there.
So there's a private chat, and then there's do you see in the right hand side of the page where it says comments?
Yep.
If you could click on comments, you should be able to pull those comments up onto the page here.
There we go. Awesome. So they should be there so everybody can see it on the recording.
You'll have to click on it in order for it to come onto the screen, though, on the StreamYard. So click on like one of the comments with the EU link, perhaps. There you go. So now it's up on screen. So now people can see
this is Friday VIP.
Right. This is the free Friday VIP office hours. Just go to mellermarketing.com/Friday VIP. And then there's another link in there too, Jan, for the EU. So this is the enthusiastically unemployable.
There we go.
And you can get a copy of these slides. And then, I'll be happy to share information about that masterclass. It's going to be launching very, very soon. And anybody who downloads the slides is going to get first track at registering for that masterclass. So
all right, I wanted to share last. Sue Griffey, thank you for posting. She says she likes to use some kind of nested circles diagram as a tool. Brenda, when working with mentees on networking outreach for engagement, now I can view it in my mind for the company page invites for November. Yeah. Awesome.
There you go. Yeah.
Awesome.
And sometimes we think about Venn diagrams too, like how do we intersect all the different audiences? Some people think about this as like a dartboard, like the middle of the dartboard is your family and friends. And then as you go out, you invite people that don't know you, right? But starting with that inner circle is important.
Well, I think the biggest takeaway and reminder for me was got those 100 credits.
Yeah.
Need to spend the time, whatever, a few moments every day or once a week to make sure that you do that. Right. I mean, that's just, it's like waiting to announce that you're here. Right. It's that, the way I look at it is you're knocking on the door by sending those invites out. You're knocking on the door. Right.
Absolutely. Yep. Get people into your followers, and you can see who those people are too. So initially they're going to be people that you invite. Over time, you'll start to see people who are following your page who could be leads for your business. So it's really important to know how to look at those.
Awesome. Brenda, thank you so much, my friend, for joining us, and look forward to future collaboration. And if anybody needs to contact Brenda, her information is here. And look forward to seeing you at our last event. We're going to complete our 8 weeks next week, next Thursday, and we'll be completing the fall HR Disruptor Summit Fall Speaker Series. And again, thank you, Brenda. I appreciate you, and I hope everyone has a great day.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Thank you so much, Jan.
Bye.